come together and it's alright. That's when you remember who you are. Over till tomorrow when we're alright. That's when we forget just who we are. Make us come together and it's alright. That's when you remember who you are. Remember who you are.
Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Tranquility, where we have our final feature series of the night or of the week. Heading here to the Discord tier, we have Maelstrom taking on Team Toucans. I am Dextron. That is Denji. Denji, man, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. We have ourselves a good series on our hands here tonight. Maelstrom comes into this series tonight 0-1 after their loss week 1 to the University of Wisconsin Whitewater. When on the other side, you have Team Toucans, who was a winner in week 1 when they took down the Koala Kings. Now, Koala Kings were a good team last year, so that was a very quality win there in week 1 for them.
Really good quality win. I kind of have Koala Kings personally like in the middle because I think looking at the roster, it kind of seems like a meme team of former marsupial players on different off roles because you have Null on tank on that roster and you also have an Avino on support. So I kind of didn't really take them that seriously going into the season because it just kind of seems like a meme team, just having a good time. I don't know. The only player I actually recognize on Toucans is their tank, and I actually don't know how to say his name.
Let me look at it here.
I see the spelling and everything. I just don't know how. I just don't want to butcher the name, but I remember him.
I'll say Napreen.
What?
Napreen?
Napreen, yeah. I remember him watching old Trank VODs, watching him play for Pantheon. He was an excellent Rhyme player back then, and he's I haven't seen him for a while, so he's back in the scene of Trank now and on Team Toucans, which Toucans are both these teams I believe are brand new to the Tranquility season. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's actually one of the fun facts that their GM for Team Toucans, Zatuni, Zat, I'm just going to say Zat.
Say Zat.
Yeah, Zat told me that a lot of these players have been around Trank at certain times. You brought it up with Napreen has been here, was here at season 5. We have a couple other players that were here season 7. So people that have been around Trank maybe left but come back. But hey, it's good to have him back, but hey, the series has to get underway here at some point. And Denji, I mean, it's the first map. Where are we going?
We're going to everybody's favorite control map. If you don't like it, there's something very wrong with you. It's Lijiang Tower.
I mean, yeah, like you said, it's a very good control map. It's everyone's favorite. It's probably the most scrimmed map. We do see it a lot here. When you give the option for people to pick it, they will normally pick it. And it's for a good reason. I will always say this is a great just warm-up map if you never necessarily got a warm-up before this series, because you can play so many different comps, so many variant comps at every point. And honestly, based off the questions I was able to ask the two teams here, we have two varying different styles of play from these two.
Yeah, so it seems like Maelstrom likes more of like a ball dive comp, and Team Toucans kind of are like a little up in the air. They said recent patches they like Doom Rush, but recently they've been having a lot of success with the Ram Rush. And so both teams have like a really different style, but it seems like dive was like the forte of both of these squads initially, but it's kind of shifted more to Ram Brawl for Team Toucans. Well, Team Maelstrom decides to stay like with their ball comp. Only player I recognize on Maelstrom is Florida, who played tank, I believe, last time for, I believe it was Frostbloom in season 8.
Well, I mean, you have two very different styles here. It does seem like Maelstrom wants to kind of stick with that dive, while Team Toucans likes that rush, but you said that Ramantra Brawl, if it works for them, it will work for them. Here going into the ball, I feel like it should be able to slow them down. But I mean, right now we can look at the tanks, but we're not necessarily in a great meta for tanks. Yeah, they're still good, but we always have to highlight the DPS players here. So what do you necessarily think that we're going to be seeing from them tonight?
I don't really know that much about any of their DPS players actually, but actually the only one I actually know about is Bossface, who played for Ragnarok Thor last season. He was actually on a flex DPS. He was a later season acquisition, and Team Ragnarok Thor did actually make Champ Rag last season in Discord tier, so that's a really good addition for Team Toucans. I believe though his team likes to flame him for how much he dies, so we'll see how that goes. But even in OWCS tank play, even in OWCS interviews with tank players like KSA, who on Twisted Minds, he pretty much like worded the tank being the main bullet sponge. Just, if everybody's shooting them, it's pretty much enabling his DPS to do whatever the heck they want because nobody's looking at them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially right now, DPS, a lot of people are saying we're back in a DPS meta here. If the tank is just being a distraction, it's allowing, like you said, those DPS to go out and basically wreak havoc to the other team. So we've been seeing a lot of Tracer duels lately. If you see Tracers on both sides, which is always fun to see, but I mean, you know, those supports are so very important. We've seen some varying different supports across, you know, OWCS as well.
Yeah, the kind of like, it's either been Mora Lucio or Kiri Lucio. Pretty much like the most survivable support lines at the moment because of that DPS passive. Really taxing like BAP. They're kind of just going like the supports that have the most mobility and most like engage potential with the team. BAP, Ana, Zen, they don't really have that mobility to engage, and they're really vulnerable to flankers. So by either using a Mora or Kiri, that kind of eliminates that problem because they both have a lot of survivability with their cooldowns, and Lucio is the most mobile support in the game in the first place, so he's pretty much a stable. He's like the one piece I don't think ever will shift out unless the meta, unless like we get into like maybe like a double flex support meta, but those are kind of boring in my opinion because I mean you look at shooters last season, or you look at when ERI was introduced and shooters was the meta, it pretty much was who could do the most damage the fastest, and you just have teams like deadlock for 2 minutes straight just shooting at each other. So I kind of like these more fast-paced metas. It really shows which team actually has their comp and teamwork down. The shooter meta is pretty much like who has better aim.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I asked these two teams what they necessarily wanted to work on going into this week. Maelstrom said just finishing kills and their ult economy, so maybe that kind of gives us a little bit of a peek into what they were struggling with last week. But for Toucans, they've been just, like you kind of already brought up, understanding the meta and kind of getting used to these hot fixes here. But Denji, we're going to have to take a little bit of a quick break here. Seems like the teams aren't necessarily in a lobby yet. So we're going to throw it to a quick break and be right back with the start of this series. All right, welcome back everyone from that quick break. The two teams are getting ready and we will be going into our final feature series of week 2 here momentarily. Maelstrom and Team Toucans getting ready at the moment. Denji, I mean, we talked about these two teams here a little bit and we did talk about their records. I mean, who do you think has the edge coming into this one? Is it Team Toucans because they're riding a little bit of a hot streak with that week 1 victory, or do you think it's Maelstrom because they learned a lot from that week 1 loss?
I think in my opinion, it's Team Toucans. They looked like the cleaner team that week. Also like, looking at the lineups, I believe Maelstrom was missing one of their DPS players, and they're having one of their recent acquisitions from Memoris Charybdis, Gom, ring in place. It looks like. So we'll see how that goes. But I think Toucans just have the upper edge. They got that win. They're probably on that hot momentum high. Maelstrom probably is like they probably learned from the mistakes, but I think it's gonna be like a more progressive thing where you have to learn throughout the season.
Yeah, absolutely here. And it did seem like Team Toucans did know beforehand that Maelstrom was gonna have some ringers here tonight. They did tell me that when I was asking them the question. So they don't necessarily know what to expect about that here. But when I asked both the team's representatives that I talked to who they're mostly looking at here to have a great series for Maelstrom, they said it was gonna be Sapphire Siren, and for Toucans, they were really talking about Nepernay, that tank that we kind of talked about a little bit as well, or maybe even Duncan.
Yeah, I really think Bossface should also be in that conversation. He's really good. He's a really good DPS. He 1v5'd the entire team in their win against Koala Kings last week at one point on Junkertown to seal the victory. So I don't know why he's not getting a little more credit for all those clutch moments that he pulls off.
Yeah, absolutely. But look at these two compositions right now. I mean, the May has kind of been in and out of play a lot recently here, but Maelstrom starting out with it.
Yeah, Maelstrom are gonna have like a more of a brawl potential with that wall, but even though Sapphire misses the wall initially, but Team Toucans is gonna have like a little more up face pressure with the Reaper and also ranged pressure with the Sojourn from an off angle. Because of that wall miss, Maelstrom has to back off immediately, and Bossface takes down Scom.
Yeah, and another thing here is you have Boca out on this Baptiste, and I mean, we even talked about it a little bit here. Speed kind of kills right now. Baptiste not necessarily one of the more mobile supports here, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they play around that. Bossface also getting rid of that immortality field right there. Toucans takes the point here first.
Yeah, take the point here first, and it was just like the wall got missed, so it kind of allowed Team Toucans and the Reaper just to walk forward and do so much damage. But now Maelstrom, all DPS outside of Team Toucans go very low. Suzu forced out. This is the time for Maelstrom to go forward.
Yeah, but they're not able to. They're just the pressure there from Toucans just forced them back into that small hallway right there. Shaquille, they're going to be able to find Zat to get everything going right now. And they find Kenman. This is exactly what Maelstrom was looking for now. And you just see Flex get hyper aggressive right there, finding Bossface. And now it's just cleaning up the stragglers, and they will take the point.
Yeah, it was a little bit. The Suzu got forced really early, and Team Toucans elected to keep fighting. I think they were trying to play for maybe a Blossom or a Rush to kind of even the playing field, and the Flex almost got taken out. But now you look at this is going to be an all fight on both sides because both teams almost have basically have 5 ultimates on each side. So it's just going to be who has the better ult usage here. As Blizzard comes out very early, if I'm Team Toucans, I'm not even electing to fight this. They're split each other completely. As
and Kitsune Rush coming out here.
Invested though.
Beat and support ultimate coming out here from Toucans, but you do see the Annihilation come out there from Flex, but the beat from Shaquille not going to be able to keep them alive in time, and now Toucans on the offensive, already taking 2-3 out right there. The final 2 members alive are the DPS. You see Sapphire Siren just ice block there, but they realized the fight was over, rather just take death and stall themselves out.
It was a really good Blizzard from Sapphire to split Team Toucans, but then both the support ults were invested, and you're not going to overpower that with Annihilation. I would like to see Shaquille like invest that beat like maybe a little faster to keep Flex up, because Maelstrom invested way more. Now Team Toucans have 3 ultimates that they just like didn't need to use at all, so they got the ult advantage, and they have map positioning too.
Absolutely here. Cloven could use that amp matrix here just to try to force out Toucans will just force them back a little bit. Honestly, they need to hold on to it for Nepernay to use that Annihilation. As you see them get very close, but now Zat in the backline finds 2 out here early, and it's just going to be all downhill here from Maelstrom as everyone else falls.
Yeah, I think that must have come from an off angle or like wrapped around behind to get those 2 picks. Maelstrom just falls. They're not really getting the ult economy back either, as Quokka's been holding onto this window for almost the entire time, and now Duncan is almost up to another Kitsune Rush, so that Kitsune Rush, Annihilation, Blossom, they have all the ults just to seal this fight.
Yeah, but they lose Duncan here early, so no Kitsune Rush available. The image does come out. Nepernay get a fall here as Flex finds them. Now everyone here for Maelstrom just going in, finding the things they need. Kenman will find Gom here, but it looks like it was just to try to get the stagger out here, which they will get. So one more fight win for Toucans. They should be able to finish up this map or point, but Maelstrom gonna be able to take the point.
Maelstrom takes the point, but Team Toucans 5 ultimates on the board. Duncan following there with the rush was really bad, but you're not really mad at if you're Team Toucans because you know that you're in final fight territory. You have 5 ults. The enemy team only has 2. So it's just, if I'm Team Toucans, just use everything. They're gonna be able to overpower him.
Overclock and Kitsune Rush coming out here early. Kenman gonna be able to find Shaquille out early now. Here comes the Annihilation from Flex, but they are getting melted down. However, the Swift Step comes in badly there, but Zat pops up with 2 of their own. Nepernay gonna be able to find Flex and Gom. There's the fight win, the retake, and that should do it for Control Center.
I think the TP to boss phase was an attempt to Suzu, but I think the Suzu might have gotten like thrown off of the balcony instead of hitting the ground and both died. Because it looked like the TP from Duncan was trying to save boss with Suzu, but the Suzu was mistimed or thrown too far.
Yeah,
but
I mean
that almost went that could have gone Maelstrom's way with those picks, but Team Toucans just had an overwhelming ult advantage going into that fight, so it's just Q Overwatch.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Maelstrom there have a fight where they should have won. They had 5 ultimates, Toucans, they were coming up on them, and I thought Maelstrom playing it a little bit too slow there when they had that. If they played it a little bit more aggressively, started out with some ultimates, Toucans would have either had to respond with ultimates of their own really quick or just accept they were going to lose that fight here. But now look at what Toucans are doing here. They kind of told us they would run this Doomfist here. Maelstrom, though, sticking with the same comp.
Sticking with the same comp, but no sim, lack of sim kind of scaring me because you want point control if you're Maelstrom. You don't want to be on open because then Team Toucans can surround you and pick you off one by one. But as Toucans, like, they're doing a lot of damage, they're trying to get a setup, but nothing's really happening. Maelstrom is just kind of mildly annoyed, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, right now the point is open. There goes the Immortality Field, and maybe you see Toucans here get a little bit more aggressive, but it's going to be Maelstrom actually capping the point here first. And still, no one has fallen yet, and you're just waiting for it right now. The hack, though, coming out on here to Gom. You're not going to be able to find them right there. Instead, they're focusing in on Duncan. Kenman and Zet, though, will find the first 2 picks, and now Maelstrom in a really bad spot as they lose everyone there. Toucans will be able to retake the point here pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's hard to see what was going on because it was from Gom's POV. But it just looked like maybe Team Toucans just like had drained all the resources from all the soft dives from Nepernay, as Maelstrom elects to just completely mirror. This is a complete Doom Dive mirror, so I haven't seen this since week 1 of OWCS Korea.
I mean, I like it here. They realize the Ramantra comp is not necessarily going to work for them here, so why not match what Toucans is doing here? But it does put them down in that in that ultimate economy right here. Zach going to be able to find Sapphire Siren out early and Quokka. And now, again, Maelstrom just has to back up. Flex, though, will find one, but Nepernay with a swift punch there to Shaquille will send them right back, and it's another good team fight win here for the Toucans.
Yeah, and switching a comp up this late, the Team Toucans already is in the driver's seat with the point control, and then the enemy team switches to comp, so now you're also in the driver's seat as far as ult economy goes, and now you can just start cycling these ultimates and get the enemy team into a chokehold. The good news is for Maelstrom is they almost have that sound barrier from Shaquille, but boss face is also up to that EMP that can shut that up down.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's going to start off with the Kitsune Rush there from Duncan. Kenman almost going to fall there, but you do see Sapphire there use that translator to keep themselves alive right now, but Maelstrom looking for anything they can get, but so far it is null and void, just like the entirety of their team here.
Yeah, and Sapphire very slow to build that EMP. Bossface has his up. The Toucan's only using that Kitsune Rush in that fight, and sure, Maelstrom does have like a couple ults coming in, but one of them, but two of them aren't guaranteed fight wins, and the beat kind of has to be used as a defense of that EMP, or else Team Toucans are just gonna shred the entirety of Maelstrom. But the EMP only hits one. That's kind of a whiff from Bossface.
The beat though from Shaquille does hit on the 4, as you do see Flex still waiting to come back down to earth from that meteor strike. They're gonna be able to retake the point through all this, but they invest ultimates a little bit too early here. Pulse Bomb gonna come out there from Gom, not gonna be able to find anyone. Kenman uses the beat here, as you do see the hack come out onto Flex. Toucan just looking for anything they can get right now. Pulse Bomb coming out from Zat, not gonna find anyone there, and it's going back and forth, but it's gonna be Nepernay and Zat firing the first two. Picks your Flex, will trade it out, but oh, you're gonna see the recall there to keep them alive. Zat though will be able to find Sapphire, Siren. Toucans look like they should win this fight here in Flex.
He, I don't know, probably punched off the map, but that could have gone bad for Toucan. Bossface only hit Flex with the EMP, and it got instant cleansed by Quokka, and then the beat from Shaquille wasn't even needed.
EMP though from Siren does find two. Flex though coming right back in. They will fall. Quokka coming in, gonna get immediately taken out after they swift step to them, and it'll be Toucans with a 2-0 victory here on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, it was looking like there were a couple fights where like Maelstrom had like the upper hand in terms of Team Toucans maybe whiffing a little bit. That EMP from Bossface only hitting one, got Suzu'd. Shaquille still invests beat, and for some reason Flex decides to invest Meteor Strike as they're rotating. So all Toucans have to do is wait that out, re-engage with all theirs that they have, and they win the point. It wasn't clean though. It could have gone Maelstrom's way because the fight went on for a little bit longer, but it looks like Team Toucans just like had the better target focus, maybe. It wasn't instant.
Yeah, and remember, that was one of the things that Maelstrom was really talking about, wanting to improve on from week 1 to this week here, was actually finishing kills, and we saw it multiple times throughout this first map here. They were able to get Team Toucan's players down low, but they weren't able to find the kills here. And you know, it seems like they had that on their mind, because the second thing they really told us was just ult economy and managing their ultimates here. And we saw them have multiple times where they had 5 ultimates, and they didn't necessarily win any of the fights where they had that ult advantage. Team Toucans was able to win, you know, fights when they had all 5 ultimates, when they had 1 ultimate, when they had 4, when they only used 1. I mean, Team Toucan seems to be a really solid team. Maelstrom, though, some slight improvements from week 1 to this week. And like you said, it wasn't necessarily a perfect map there for Team Toucans, but it was a much better map than what Maelstrom had.
Yeah, and they had like, there were times where they had all the advantages. The ults were either used too early, too late, or Team Toucans had the same amount of ults, and maybe perhaps it wasn't tracked correctly. Who knows what's going on in comms between the two teams? But that last fight where Team Toucans took it, the dive in was good initially, but then like everybody from Toucans kind of split up on different targets, which is what you don't really want to have in Doom Dive. You kind of want to blow up one target as a group, and then move on to this target, that target. Everybody just kind of went their own separate ways, which could have ended in disaster for Toucans, but Maelstrom kind of did the exact same thing. They all split up and took 1v1s across the map, so it just kind of ended up working out for Toucans, because Toucans just kind of mechanic diffed Maelstrom at that point. I'm just assuming basically if Maelstrom maybe like realized, hey, they're all split up, let's just all shoot this person, then maybe it could have gone a different way.
I see it a little bit differently in that fight you're talking about there. I mean, Toucans basically, once they realized that Maelstrom was using ultimates, they just backed up. Let them use their ultimates, let them take the point there, because you kind of saw it right after that. They dived right back into them. That beat that came out there from Maelstrom, I don't think they necessarily want to engage into it, especially with that Doomfist that was in the process of trying to find a landing spot for that meteor strike. And while it could have worked out a little bit better there for Maelstrom, it just seemed like Toucans, like you said, maybe a little bit more mechanical, maybe just a little bit smarter there as well, waiting for those ultimates to go so they could come back into a fight there with their own.
Yeah, the beat from Shaquille, I get, like, he heard EMP, so the first thought that went through their mind was probably, I have this sound barrier. Well, it only hit Flex.
It hit 4.
It hit 4? I only saw the hack sign above Flex's head. And they all got insta-Suzu. So the beat wasn't needed really, but in the heat of the moment, you kind of invest it. The meteor strike was also invested probably because Flex probably thought, oh, I can't get out of this. I have to ult to get out. But it is Maelstrom's map pick since they lost, and they have elected to take us to the good old Scrims Row.
I mean, at this point, you just have to. I'm gonna say this. You just have to say that we're gonna see Lijiang, Kings Row, and then with Flashpoint, it's gonna probably be Sarabasa. There's gonna be a couple of teams that pick New Junk City, but I just think we have our main three for these types, and we're gonna see them a lot here. But heading into this map, I mean, it's a rush map. It's a brawl map. That's not necessarily something that Maelstrom said they like to play. They said their go-to is that ball comp, but we never saw the ball. We saw the Ram Brawl, which is something that they said they have been working on. Then they went over to Doom. So, what do you think they're going to come out with here?
It could be because their main tank, Florida, is absent. So, without him, perhaps Flex isn't a ball player, and he hasn't played, and perhaps his Flex. I believe Flex is ringing too. So, it could be just a case of they don't have their main tank player with them, so they can't run that ball comfortably like they practiced. So they're kind of just running what is less advanced. Even though Doom is advanced, but maybe Flex can't play ball. But maybe going to this map is safer because they did contest Toucans in the ROM mirror until Toucans just had every ult in the game and hit Q.
Yeah, and that's been something I've been noticing really quickly here in this series, especially there on Lijiang Tower, is once Toucans kind of get that momentum rolling their way, they never really gave it up, and Maelstrom always kind of seemed to struggle just to kind of take it away a little bit here. I mean, what do you think they necessarily need to do here as we head in to Kings Row?
If they're playing the BAP, they can afford to play slower. If the enemy team is playing a carry, so they're going to be taxed on resources over time. A BAP kind of has a little more resource power with the healing, the lamp, the healing, the lamp, the regen burst. Fury is very more tempo based, so Team Toucans were just kind of setting the tempo more, running in first. Maelstrom showing pretty much the same thing, except Gom's gonna be on the Bastion, and Team Toucans is
they're in spawn.
I was really hoping I wouldn't see the horse today.
They're in spawn. You're probably gonna see the horse, but they're in spawn here.
Ursa is kind of been the tank that kind of has replaced Malga, and ever since Malga got hotfixed, so I'm not really surprised, especially since Ursa kind of denies everything Rom wants to do.
Yeah, absolutely here, but I mean, Toucans, Maelstrom just lets him walk straight through that choke right there, but with that May, I would honestly thought Maelstrom was not going to allow that to happen, but they do instead here. They're looking for just a little bit of an over-aggressive push here from Nephernay right now, but no, right now, Toucans is playing incredibly smart, except for Bossface, who is lurking in the shadows.
Yeah, he's on the Tracer. They're probably just trying to set up a pincer maneuver or they're relying on Zap maybe to get a first pick, but Maelstrom kind of just playing the back of the hotel so they don't get as much poke. But here comes the rush through as Zap taking a 1 HP, but somehow Gom was the first casualty.
Yeah, just that big body of Bastion right there, but Bossface taking out Quokka here early as well. Flex will be the next one to fall, and this looks like it's going to be an easy point win here for Team Toucans. They're just going to clean up Sapphire and send them back to spawn.
Yeah, it was looking like may have gone Maelstrom's way because you saw Nephernay drop to 1 HP, you saw Zat go down to very low, Bossface is half HP, Canman went a little bit low, but nobody died on the side of, well, one person died on the side of Team Toucans, but by the time they died, Bossface had already killed 2, so that's where the not finishing kills is coming through on the side of Maelstrom. They need to be able to finish those 2, and then maybe they hold the point there.
Yeah, you brought up there again. They said that was one of the things they struggled on week 1, and so far it's continuing to struggle, be a little bit of a struggle here for them now. But look at Team Toucans, 3 ultimates ready to go. Maelstrom though does have 3 of their own. The Ice Wall going to come out there, but not going to be able to find Nephernay. Flex getting very aggressive here as the damage comes out from Duncan, and the melting is happening, but it's actually Duncan who falls first. However, Maelstrom takes a big hit as they do lose Flex. Kenman does fall as well, but Toucan just going to continue to push without either of their supports.
Yeah, they don't really need to worry that much because Nephernay can just back off, and they're actually having Bossface just nudge the cart forwards with the mobility. And Team Toucans also has a spawn advantage compared to Maelstrom, whose spawn is all the way back, so now Maelstrom has to give space. Now Team Toucans, they used 2 ults, But Neperne, it goes extremely low, somehow gets out alive again.
And just an incredible play, but it's going to be Boss Face finding Gom. Now Boss Face might be in a little bit too deep here, but Maelstrom about to lose Flex. They do pop their Annihilation right now. Same thing with the Blizzard, trying to combo those up right now. Duncan will get frozen there, but will we see anything else come out here? Zach can pop up there. Overclock looking for anyone. Neperne finds too early, picks Sapphire Siren, gonna get taken down by that railgun there from Zat, and honestly, this might be a point B cap for Team Toucans right here.
It looks like this is gonna be really fascinating. Flex going over to the Zarya. Oh my god, are we competitive? Anyway, but Team Toucans, they're still holding on to that Terra Surge. I get Terra Surge, like, I would like to maybe see it comboed with like a window or something like that, because it, as an ult for kills, it doesn't really get kills. It just it's more of like a team split ult or just a ult combo initiative. But Neperne I don't think Neperne has died once, and he should have died like at least 2 or 3 times getting walled off, and Maelstrom has just failed to secure that kill. They need to be able to kill the tank.
And right now, Flex has to back up the Immortality Field, already invested very early. The pulse bomb! Finds 3! There you go, there's your combo play right there, Denji, as it's 4 members down for Maelstrom right there, off of an incredible play in Boss Face. Yeah, hit the dance move.
That's what I was just talking about. Terra Surge coming out with Pulse Bomb. Team Toucans making some switches. They're going over to the Rom and Reaper, which is going to allow Maelstrom to walk back to the car, but now Zarya is kind of in a rough spot in terms of what she's going to be able to do against this comp, because Reaper and Rom kind of just deny Zarya.
Damage is though going to come out here from Maelstrom. You do see Toucans respected, back up, not wanting to lose anyone early. Instead, they're going to come back in with one of their own, and Flex not going to be able to escape that one. Their Neperne gets hyper aggressive right now, already finding one. The Ice Block being the only thing that saves Sapphire Siren there for the moment. It only prolonged their death. It's a team kill, and Toucans not going to be able to finish this map, but are going to get really close.
I don't think Maelstrom has won a single fight. And that is a problem, considering now the fact that Flex, like, Shaquille finally uses, he's been holding on to Beast in second point, and now it finally comes through. They cannot C9 this point, though. They have to stay on it.
And this should be the fight they win. That beat should get them through. This is really no ultimates ready for Toucans at the moment. But if you have to take care of Zat, but it's going to be Flex falling there. Toucans just open the door for a win here. Sapphire Siren going to invest the Blizzard here as a last-ditch effort. Neperne will fall right there. Toucans, though, trying to get out of this one alive, and Zat going to be able to jump the ice wall with some help from Kenman. They're going to be able to fall back with the rest of their team.
Yeah, you're seeing the problems coming through that Maelstrom talked about. Not being able to finish kills, Zat goes to 1 HP, and instead Flex falls. But the Blizzard from Sapphire Siren catches Neperne, and they manage to kill him. But now the problem is Team Toucans, they're coming in with 4 ultimates, and Maelstrom only have the overclock, and Gorka has gone over to the Moira as well, so
Overclock.
This is going to be tough for them.
Overclock coming out here from Gom. The Immortality Field immediately invested early. The Pulse Bomb gets stuck. It's a long arm heave. They'll be going to be able to find there. The Death Blossom finds too. The ultimate's coming out here from Team Toucans as they know this is going to be it. 2 minutes, 7 seconds on the clock here. And Denji, you even said it there once. Maelstrom struggled to win fights. They won one. They weren't able to keep up that momentum, though, and Toucans came right back in with all their ultimates, shut them down, and completed the map.
Yeah, they were the one that won fight because they just, like, they were in panic mode. They started pressing Q. Toucans was taxed on resources, but then Toucans comes back in. Wisely, Toucans just don't invest. They know it's over, so they just keep the ultimates they have. They walk back in with all the ultimates they have built up. And meanwhile, on the side of Maelstrom, well, they only have overclock, and I believe Gom got stuck anyway and killed. And their support line had made switches. Their tank had just made the switch. They had no ultimates. Team Toucans just pretty much all they had to do was press Q and walk.
And that play right there. I mean, you talked about it. That Terra Surge, not necessarily known for finding kills. It definitely has, though, in the last couple of weeks been used more as something to get some kills here, but that is the main thing you want to do, that you want to have it, use it to, suck those players in, find the kills like that. A triple pulse bomb, I mean, you don't see it a lot, but when you do, it is something special. And right now, again, I said it coming into this map, Team Toucans were just able to build up momentum on Lijiang Tower. Maelstrom was never able to really shut that down. And now again, I mean, Maelstrom going on the attack here. What do they need to do to shut down the momentum that Toucans have?
They have to be a little more clean with their target focus. Like, Neperne, that, like, they all need to shoot at the one target that goes low. If you look like, it looks like they're all shooting the target that's going low, but maybe somebody's taking a 1v1, somebody's getting harassed in the back line. They all have to shoot the same target as a group in order to kill. And that's kind of like the bane that Maelstrom has been facing, is they haven't been able to finish these kills that win them team fights. What in the world? Is this Great Bamboozle?
Nah, the Widow's not there. They want to go around the world here, and look at what Toucans is doing. They're playing it perfectly, in my opinion. They're just letting Maelstrom take the space. They're falling back, playing it completely safe here, and now Maelstrom attacking this from the defensive position, and Toucans defending it from the offensive position here. Ice walls come out from both sides right now, but it's gonna be Gom trying to find whatever damage they can in that turret form. But Neperne gonna be the first one to fall here. It's gonna be Gom finding them. Boss Space will find one, but already 2 members of the Toucans down, make it 3 as they lose Duncan. There goes your main source of healing, and Kenmen not in a really good spot right here.
That's a lot better target focus from the side of Maelstrom. They realize that they have to be able, that Neperne is just kind of walking in on the Orisa, using all his cooldowns, and then it's stuck. And it was a really good opening kill. Sure, flex goes down, but by that point you've already killed 2, and you've lost your tank and a support. Now Team Toucans, that has gone over to the Junkrat, and Flux has decided on the side of Maelstrom to mirror their Orisa as well.
Toucans though, investing the Amatrix here early. They want to try to take Archers back here. The Immortality field coming out early from Duncan, as well as Kenman was getting very low right there. But that worked. I mean, they're going to be able to get to Archers right now. Neperne does have that Terror Surge ready to go, but Gom going to start out with the artillery configuration right now, throwing it onto that back line. Everyone going to be able to stay alive except for Boss Space, who gets javelined out of it right there. Terror Surge coming out here from Neperne, not going to be able to find anyone because of that Immortality field. And now, I mean, you lose Neperne, you lose that. That's just the fight right there. You have to give it up.
Yeah, and Team Toucans, like, they're kind of looking to, like, they kind of play better when they have, like, a comp that just kind of shuts down the enemy team. Maelstrom have a comp that kind of shuts down Team Toucans in terms of outright damage from the going into the front, because that does spam. Boss Face has to build that rail to do the bulk of his damage. And now Maelstrom are in a position where they have the ult advantage, and they have Blizzard just to lock off this point and walk it in.
And that's exactly how they're going to start this off here. The Immortality field going to come out, but Quokka not going to get caught. Actually going to get caught in here. Going to be able to find 2 picks off that Blizzard right there immediately. Boss Face, though, does pop the overclock here. Neperne going to be able to find Sapphire Siren. And now Boss Face finds one, but Shaquille going to be able to find the boot kill there on the Kenman. However, Neperne just trying to do whatever they can to hold on to this point for their team here. But Boss Face falls. Neperne probably not far behind. They will take Shaquille with them, but it won't be worth much.
Yeah, and Maelstrom kind of setting almost a same pace that Toucans did. Toucans kind of just like are stuck in the... Now Toucans are the ones on the back foot in terms of ult economy goes. Maelstrom only need to use that Blizzard and Terror Surge. Toucans, they have a Riptire and the window. Now, if I'm Zat, maybe wait until Neperne gets up that Terror Surge, and then you have a really deadly combo, especially if Koka doesn't have that Immortality field to prevent it.
And Matrix, though, coming out here from Dump, going to force Maelstrom to fall back here. And again, we saw this last round where the attacking team just fell back, wait for that thing to go away. But now Zat does have that tire ready to go, and Neperne coming up very quickly here to another Terror Surge. And, you know, you have to try to use one of these ultimates here to force out something from Maelstrom. But Maelstrom, I mean, I talked about it. They seem to have really no momentum coming into this round. Now they have all the momentum. The tire coming out here from Zach Kemen, though. We'll be able to find Gom. And Zach going to be able to find Shaquille right there. And everyone else is going to fall. Maelstrom just realizing it's a losing fight.
Yeah, and now third point is a great hold point for Team Toucans because they have the BAP can get up to the high ground, Sojourn can get up to the high ground, Junkrat can get up to the high ground. Maelstrom doesn't really have anything besides a Lucio that can go and contest. And trust me, as a Lucio player, you don't want to contest against any of those heroes if they're playing together.
Yeah, you do see Boss Race up there on that angle. Let's see if anyone actually looks up, and it does look like Flex immediately notices them. They're going to be able to slide Alpha, but they're not going to be able to keep their life as Sapphire finds the headshot on them. Terror Surge coming out here from Flex. Not going to be able to find anyone, but will force out the Immortality field. Duncan, though, going to be falling right there as Gom finds him, and now Toucans, again, just have to fall back with what limited space they have.
Yeah, and Boss Face is playing a little too aggressive, and the cost of Team Toucans coming in, but Neperne with the Terror Surge, boss phase can't pop overclock because they're all grouped up together.
Could be a trade right
trade
there,
pick!
Sapphire for boss. And now you see the image come out here from Quokka. Shaquille does still have the beat here if they want to go a little bit aggressive, but they're not gonna. I feel like that's a little bit of a mistake. I mean, Toucans was down a member or two.
Toucans was down a member, but you look at the trade, and boss phase spawns right there. Sapphire kind of has the walk back, so you're probably just waiting for Sapphire to re-engage as a 5v5, and especially since they have their artillery strike and they have that beat. They have the tools to kind of walk in. They have the tools to walk in here. As Gom finds bosses is not having a good defense round.
Boss face will fall, but Duncan using that immortal or Ant Matrix is gonna be able to find one right back. B coming out here from Kenman as Zat swapping over to this Reaper. Kenman though gonna be able to get the boot kill on the Gom again, and now Toucans starting to take back a little bit of that momentum, and Flex just gonna have to accept this death here as there's no escape for that Orisa.
Yeah, and you see that Maelstrom, they used both their ults that they had. Gom now going over to the Sojourn. Flex is close to that Terror Surge, but Team Toucans now they're in the driver's seat. They have map positioning. They have a little bit more leeway in terms of ults, because that does have that Blossom, although not the best ultimate, especially in the comp that Maelstrom are running. But this is a direct mirror of each other, so
And
it's pretty much gonna be coming down to which team gets the pick first.
Well, there comes the Death Blossom coming out from Zat. Not gonna be able to find anyone right there, but does force out the immortality fields from both sides, and Flex could be the first one to fall here. And if you're Maelstrom right there, that's your get out button. Don't invest anything, just try to get out with your lives.
Yeah, now Toucans are getting that ult cycle a little bit up and running more. They are close to the Terror Surge. They also have the window. Maelstrom goes over to the Zarya. I feel like I'm in competitive again. But Zarya Reaper was a really good comp back when Overwatch 2 first released, and we'll see if it works out here, because Orisa can't really do that much against Zarya since her beam just goes through everything Orisa wants to do.
What about the Terror Surge though? How much can
Terror
this
Surge
do? It's gonna be able to find
What
three!
a boop! What a boop!
Over. What 4 kills right here for Neperne? Can they find the 5th? No, Duncan takes it away. Duncan taking away the ace from Neperne right there.
That was a beautiful Terror Surge, and then Kenman getting above the rest of the Maelstrom, booming them back into the Terror Surge when that slams, getting those 3 kills. That was a beautiful combo. And now Maelstrom does have a little more ults now, but Team Toucans, they're gonna open with the window here, and now this is gonna burn more times. What is Flex doing there?
Yeah, Flex overextended right there. Boss was gonna be able to find Shaquille here, and now Maelstrom, and yeah, they're coming up on 3 ultimates, but at this point, you're basically coming in for a final touch. Toucans though, only gonna have 2 ready to go, so maybe a slight advantage.
Toucans are gonna have about 2 to go. Neperne has been really fast to build up these Terror Surges, and both DPS ults on the side of Maelstrom are guaranteed. Well, that's guaranteed with the window.
Gom finds 2 immediately right there. Shaquille will find 3. The Death Blossom coming out there from Sapphire. Gonna be able to find the 4th one here, and now Kenman gonna have to just try to stall out this point as long as they can here. They're trying to get up into that one small room. Not gonna be able to. Can the Toucans come back out in time and touch here? You're seeing them come out the TP there from Zad just a little bit too slow, but I mean, if you're Toucans, you're not necessarily mad that Maelstrom completed the map. But
that death that Kenman had was brutal with how late it was.
Yeah, it's brutal, but I mean, you have one small, golden, you have one small thing here. They completed the map in overtime while Toucans completed with over 2 minutes on the clock here. So Toucans, all they need to do, I mean, they don't even need to win a fight. They just need to get a tick here onto the point, and they win this map.
They win this map, but I feel like they could have defended that maybe or come back. If Kenman just decides not to re-peek and die on that wall, because he had sound barrier. If he just hides in that cubby hole, backs off the spawn, waits for his team to come back, re-engage with the beat, maybe they win that fight, maybe they don't, but I'm just saying, Kenman dying with the beat, that is a brutal way to go down, especially when you had an ult that would have really helped a recontest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you kind of saw Kenman try to get into that small room right there, that small hallway, but I think they missed it there, and then they just couldn't get themselves turned around fast enough. But now, 2 minutes, 7 seconds here for Toucans to just get a tick. All they have to do, get a tick, and they win the map in Maelstrom here. I mean, you see Gom coming back out on this Bastion. I do like the pick for them. It's worked out really well for them.
It's worked out really well, and it just does an overwhelming amount of damage, so Neperne kind of has to think twice about actually walking forward. as what are Maelstrom
This is
doing?
an interesting strat considering Toucans only need to get a tick here. Maelstrom comes out of the hotel right lobby incredibly quick. Flex are going to be able to find Zat here. Immortality Field invested early now from Toucans. And I mean, and for both sides, actually Flex though incredibly low. Toucans do have a great opportunity here to maybe find a late pick.
Yeah, but they lost their main range damage in Zat, and like sure, Neperne does a pretty good chunk of damage with the Orisa with no fall-off damage in the spear, but that was a really good kind of weird. That was a really good catch off guard play by Maelstrom, but now that's not gonna work twice. And Neperne is somehow almost almost up to a Terror Surge somehow. I don't know how this guy keeps building these that fast.
Immortality Field coming out there from Duncan. Boss Face gonna be able to get rid of Quokkas here. Boss Face focusing in there on Quokka, not gonna be able to find him. Immortality Field's down from both sides right now. Quokka does have that damage, just ready to go here. And honestly, maybe use a little bit early here. But it's gonna be Duncan finding Flex right there. Quokka gonna use that damage just a little bit late there, but the Terror Surge does come out for Neperne. And now everything going Team Toucan's way. It's just about cleaning up the stragglers here, which they will do, and they will be taking this series to series point heading into our break.
Yeah, not the cleanest. Not the cleanest. I think maybe Maelstrom could have maybe fought off or turned the point if they had just used that window a lot sooner. Quokka got it really fast, but when they use it as Flexi falls, as this has to be the triple pulse bomb. I don't think I've seen this. I don't think I've seen a triple pulse bomb unless the team is grabbed.
Just. You even talked about it right there. You talked about that Terror Surge coming out there from Neperne being something that you normally combo with ultimates, and that right there is a perfect example of it. I mean, that was still a great pulse bomb stick there from Boss Face. Maybe it finds one or two there with it, but that Terror Surge really made sure that it found all three there. And yeah, if I landed a triple pulse bomb, I would be dancing too. And I mean, so far the Toucans have really impressed, but honestly, Maelstrom, it looked really good in the back half of this map here. Weren't able to get the win, weren't able to get the tie, but still, it seems like they learned something between that first round of King's Road to that second round.
Yeah, they cleaned up their target focus a little bit better, so things were actually dying. Neperne wasn't surviving on 1 HP. This here, Kenman getting that boop in. But if he doesn't do that, they all escape. That was a beautiful boof from Kenman to boot them back into that Terror Surge for the kills. But Maelstrom, they did look a bit better on their attack compared to the defense, but it kind of came in a little too late. And then their Altakami was another thing they said they were working on, and I think they have to work on alt timing as Quokka. Just that window was held on to for too long. As soon as you got it, you should have pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that being the end of our second map, we're going to let the teams take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with our third and potentially final map of this series. Make sure you all stick around for that one. We'll be right back. Team Toucans currently up 2-0 on Maelstrom right here, but I mean, Denji, Maelstrom looked really good in the back half of that Kings Row map, but just because of how fast and dominant Toucans was in their offensive round there is the main reason they end up winning that map there. I mean, we're heading in to our third and potentially final map of the series here. Do you think this Maelstrom team has enough to at least potentially start a reverse sweep?
They cleaned up their target focus. They looked a lot better on their attack, unfortunately, because their defense did not go so well. Team Toucans ended up taking that map, but I could see this map being a little more closer with how Team Toucans cleaned up their target focus and also teamed up kind of found a comp that kind of gave Team Toucans some concerns as far as between team fights, as when they switched to Orisa, Team Toucans were a little bit lost, They weren't like in the driver's seat like they were when Maelstrom was trying to play the Ramen to the Orisa. But since it was Maelstrom's map pick again, Dex unfortunately was wrong, and they elected to go to New Junk City.
Hey, I'm happy about that. I love seeing New Junk City. Honestly, I've been seeing it a lot in OWCS, so it's great to see it now here in Tranquility. And I feel like it brings a little bit of a different kind of thing, a different kind of play style here. I mean, both teams did kind of say they like to run dives. We necessarily haven't seen that out of Maelstrom here, but I think the reason that you brought up was the fact they don't have their main tank of Florida. Is probably the main reason why we haven't seen the ball from them. But Toucans, they did talk to us about potentially running a little bit of a Junker Queen rush here. And honestly, New Junk City is a great map for the Queen.
She's on home turf. She has a home turf advantage. Junker Queen usually has been a pretty good, decent pick on both flashpoints with how like brawl oriented they are. And Queen thrives off like narrow choke points, close engagements, but recently, kind of like if you're not good at Queen, the counter to her mostly has either been like a Sig or a Orisa or something like or around like with how squishy Queen is one of the squishier tanks. She doesn't have any shields or armor or anything like that on her health bar, so she can be taken out like by Ramatra. Orisa denies her engagements. Same thing with Sig. So she is a pretty good, decent tank if you know how to play Temple and stuff. As Flex, as you'll see, Maelstrom, they're on the Queen comp. Queen Rush Team Toucans, they're on their Orisa comp, which. Flex, please. No.
Here's the thing: Toucans did say that the Orisa comp is something they had in their back pocket. Here, they've been working on it. I didn't necessarily expect to see it be played on a lot here tonight. Maybe Kings Row makes sense, but here on New Junk City, it's a little bit of a shock to me.
Yeah, I kind of was expecting like maybe a Ram or a Doomfist or something like that, but Orisa has been pretty. But the Orisa looked pretty good on Kings Row, and Orisa does counter out Queen with how much poke damage Orisa does. Queen denying Queen's engagements as Flex drops to half immediately off the gauge. Good knife, but of course Orisa's Orisa, she doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at Team Toucans here. They have a very mobile comp outside of Nepernay here, but it's going to be Gom finding ball space. A nice spear there from Nepernay to kind of stop Flex from continuing with that engagement right there. But Maelstrom going to be able to take the point here first as Toucans just not going to engage quickly here without Zat.
No, without Zat, that's... Well, actually, they lost boss space, but so not a big deal. But that's a big deal as Flex somehow finds out Duncan on the low ground. That's what you want to do as Queen. You kind of just want to like ignore their Orisa and like find the backline. Find the backline, kill the backline, everything else falls. As Team Toucans, they back out. Boss Face does get a constellation pick on Gom, but by the time another fight starts, both teams are going to be at around 5 unless Sapphire gets picked because you can see he got stunned by the spear across the map from Nepernay.
Gom, though, incredibly low, and Boss Face is going to be able to take him out there. Sapphire Siren has not even got any support yet from their team, still very low on health here, and now Toucans getting very aggressive here. However, they're kind of forgetting about one crucial thing at the moment, and that would be the point.
Yeah, and Kenman goes down being way too aggressive. You see the point come through now. Zat dies to the knife. Toucans went too aggressive. They finally get to control the point, but this is way too late. They're already down, people.
Yeah, it's not going to be good here for them. I mean, they're down. Duncan, Kenman not going to be able to get back in time to keep Nepernay alive here. This is just a big misplay out early here from the Toucans. Maelstrom, though, like I said, able to build up some momentum from Kings Row, looking a lot better.
they're looking a lot better, and they also have a massive. It's gonna be an ult fight next fight on both sides. The only ults missing from Maelstrom are the overclock, and Sapphire should get the blade up. Toucans have every ult except for that beat with Cal. Kenman is like, what is Boss is an undercover
Pulse
agent.
bomb? Pulse bomb? Boss face? How do you let this happen? How do you let this happen? How do you Boss face gets another insane pulse bomb kill there, and I mean, just immediately Toucans need something to go their way here. Find those two out early is exactly what they needed, and now Gom, you gotta be able to stay alive here, but Toucans now have the point presence.
The other point presence as Boss face. He wasn't mentioned as one of the players to watch, but he should be watched for the rest of the season because he keeps coming up clutch after clutch with pulse bombs, kicks, but here comes all the ult damage.
Yeah, I mean, Toucans did invest the Junior Rush here, but Maelstrom going to end up winning out on this one here. It's going to be just a nice, quick cleanup here for them, and now Duncan swapping over to the Moira of their own.
Yeah, they want a little more sustained maybe, or a little more fast-paced pressure. As Naperne, goes over to the Ramatra. Kenman's slow to build up the beat since he's gotten picked a couple of times really late or really early. So he's been slower to build up the beat compared to Shaquille, who has had his first point. Now, Maelstrom, they should be able to engage with like the Queen all first here, especially since Team Toucans, they don't have that Suzu anymore, and Kenman is close to that beat. Should be able to get it before the ult goes off at least.
Overclock coming out here from Zap. It's going to be respond right back with the rampage there from Flex, but Flex will be the first one to fall here. Kenman going to use that beat to keep everyone alive, and now Toucans just cleaning up this team fight already, taking care of Quokka. Sapphire Siren will find Duncan. That's going to be all they get in this fight.
Yeah, the rampage was decent, but Flex kind of like, you kind of have to think as a Junkermate with where you're going to end up at the end of your rampage, because he ended up in the middle of Team Toucans, who are all very angry at him for doing that. He dies, Gom gets killed across the point. Shaquille does have that beat though, so the only ult coming in from both sides is another big stone. Not again!
No, Boss Face is just insane with these pulse bombs here at the moment, and I mean, they are single-handedly kind of helping their team win this point right now. Sapphire though will find Kenman, but it's immediately traded out there as Quokka, Sapphire, and Flex all fall right there, and honestly, I think that will do it here in the Ducks.
I'll do it on this point as Boss Face time and time again. Pulse bomb kills. He actually was spawn camping Gom on the first point too. That's why Gom fell very low and died. Boss was just spawn camping him. As the next point will unlock soon. I believe is going to be I don't remember what that point is called actually.
That one might be Refinery actually. Yeah.
Ducks.
Okay, never mind. That's Ducks. I got it wrong.
Yeah, I think what the point they just took was Refinery.
Yep.
But looking at the side of Maelstrom, they have that beat. They're gonna have Blade. Quokka should get up to a Cole soon. Toucans though, almost an Annihilation, almost to a Coalescence. And Gom was on the Cassidy. I think Gom was just getting annoyed by this Tracer, and even then, Cassidy isn't a guaranteed counter for the Tracer.
Beat though coming out here from Shaquille early right now. I mean, I thought they were going to hold on to that to counter out the Annihilation there from Nephrene, but they're not going to be able to do that here. Sapphire Siren that does have the blade ready to go here. Trades going out each way. Flexo will fall here first for Maelstrom. Sapphire going to invest the blade into this fight right now, looking for anyone they can, but they're probably swinging onto the worst target right there. Both Lucio's out, the Annihilation coming out here. Gom going to fall to it. Gom though did find two, but Sapphire not going to be able to find that one right there, and the Toucan should be able to cap this point.
Toucan's cap. The beat engagement was a good thought, but nobody died. And nobody really died until Flux goes down. Then Gom gets a kill. Blade is not on the correct target. There's a Lucio right next to Neperne, but he got away. Neperne. I thought that Annihilation was going to be over but Neperne is somehow able to survive the onslaught of a Genji trying to kill him. Now Maelstrom. They have the Coalescence to engage here, but so does Toucans. Toucans can just fire back with their own as well.
Overclock and the Coalescence coming out here from Toucans. Quokka gonna use their own Coalescence as well, just trying to keep everyone up alive. Because when Zat very low, gonna get healed up by Duncan now. And just a good kind of stall out here from Toucans early. Did force that one big ultimate. Kenman though, gonna find Gom, who had that high noon ready to go here. And now you just see the collapse in on everyone else here from Maelstrom. It's gonna be a team kill, and honestly, that might be this point going over to Toucans unless Maelstrom wants to try another engagement here.
I I would not try to engage this tier. You're just feeding ult charge to Team Toucans. And it looks like they're going to try to touch the point, which it could come back to hurt their decisions since Kinman has that beast. Bossface has another pulse bomb. If he gets another 2 kills, I will throw my headset. But as Maelstrom has elected to give this point up, and we're heading over the junkyard. I'm just gonna wait until the freaking announcer says it because I don't
wait
remember
until
these
Athena
points.
says it.
But it's only ult on Maelstrom's side is that Deadeye. Flux should get up to that rampage soon. Toucans have that pulse bomb beat. Deadeye really not gonna do that much unless somehow Team Toucans get caught in the open with no escape, which I don't think they will with how smart they have been playing.
Bossface, okay. Everyone on Maelstrom dispersed there for the moment. Bossface has picked up their target. Not going to be able to stick there, but they still will find Sapphire. And now they're back focusing in here on Gom. That Magnet Grenade not going to be able to find anyone right here. Members of Maelstrom just low on health, and now they're running out of members as Toucan's going to be able to cap the point here first, but they're still looking to clean up this fight here. They're backing up smartly right now, but Zat going to be able to take care of 2, and this is not the start that Maelstrom wanted at this point.
Oh. The only good news for Maelstrom is they almost have both support ults, and they almost have both supports, and they have 2 already loaded and ready to go. The bad news is, so do Team Toucans almost have 4 ults as well. It's going to be basically Shaquille's beat has to be better, Focus Coalesce has to be better. Flex has to hit a rampage, like after the beat wears off, or just to get the beat out, as Sapphire goes very low on the approaches.
Well, speaking of that rampage, it comes out the beat. They're going to be able to keep everyone alive right there. Now Coca uses their coalescence right here, trying to find whoever they can. Zat incredibly low, but it's going to be Gom finding Bossface. The overclock coming out here from Zat, looking for anyone they can. They have their eyes set on Gom here. It's just a battle of who can aim better. It's going to be Zat winning that one. The Annihilation coming out here from Nefrene as that coalescence comes out. Beat from Shaquille. Is it going to be a hope and a prayer kind of beat? It is, but everyone on their team is dead. Sapphire falls, Shaquille falls, and Team Toucans will take New Junk City and take the series in a sweeping fashion to move themselves up to 2-0 on the season.
Yeah, they look very comfortable on the ROM. They look a little bit. The Arista comp, they said they were experimenting and working on it. They're gonna have to keep working on that, as the Arista comp had its problems. As soon as I switched to the ROM, it cleaned up. It looked a lot better. Team Toucans looked a lot cleaner on the Ramatra than Arista. As soon as that swap came through, it shut down everything that Maelstrom was trying to do. Of course, Maelstrom is down 2 players, so if they had their full roster, it would have been different. But you gotta really give a lot of credit to what was going on to shift the momentum to Bossface, as he had, I believe, 6 pulse bomb kills alone, and 2 of those were doubles with 1.
Yeah.
So, he kind of he flipped the momentum on its head, especially after that first point.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone for Toucans at some point in the night just shined. It was Bossface on the Tracer, who was Zat on this Soldier, Neprony on whatever tank that they were playing. Duncan and Kenman, I mean, as well, were just able to do so much to keep everyone alive. They did so well. But you said it here. This Maelstrom team didn't have everyone here, had a couple ringers, but still, I think they looked good here tonight at points. It just took them a little bit to get into the series, but then you had the New Junk City, and once Neprene came back out on this Ramatra, it really did give Maelstrom a little bit of a difficult time, but at the same time, it was also just boss face. I felt like they always had to kind of worry where they were, because they were able to build up the pulse bombs insanely quick. I mean, Maelstrom won that first point on New Junk City. I thought maybe they're starting to turn around a little bit here, but then Bossface finds that double pulse bomb pick, and we were watching it from above. They walked right past Bossface. It should have been something that never happened, but it did, and that's just the insanity of it.
Yeah, Bossface, he clutched a lot against Kawake's last week. He did it again tonight against Maelstrom, and Team Toucans, they say he dies a lot. Well, he dies a lot, but he may die a lot on some heroes, but his Tracer is really well. It's phenomenal, basically. He wasn't one of the players that Toucans mentioned to keep an eye on, which I actually think they should mention him next time they get a feature, because he was really strong. He kind of actually outperformed Zat, in my opinion, and Neperne was really good at taking space, distracting, and Boss Face was pretty much just like the fly that just never goes away, and he was pretty much everywhere on Tracer, which really made it tough for the entirety of Maelstrom to deal with a Tracer and also deal with the onslaught of an Orisa or a Ramotris running at your face.
And it might be a little bit of mind games as well. Maybe, we talked about everyone else on that team, and we just didn't talk about them. And maybe it was just a great play there by Zat to kind of get that into their head here, to get that kind of performance out from them here. Because, man, did they have a hell of a performance. But so did everyone on this Maelstrom team here. I talked about it already. I mean, they look so good tonight. A well-rounded team. I mean, so far, they've played 7 maps, only dropped 1. That is a great start to the season for them here. But Maelstrom, I mean, we brought it up already. Had 2 ringers. They look good at points in tonight, especially after that first round on Kings Row. In my opinion, they looked like a much different team, a lot more confident of a team as well. They just weren't able to find that win there on any of the maps to potentially prolong this series here. But I feel like once Maelstrom gets that core 5 back, and maybe even they keep these 2 ringers they had here tonight, because I feel like at times they worked really well together, maybe we'll see a much different Maelstrom team.
Yeah. And once they get their full roster back together, I think they'll be a lot stronger. Dom is one of the players on their Harmony tier team, and Morris Kerbitus, I believe, who just got added. So he was playing up a tier. Flex, I believe, was a ringer for tank, but he looked really strong. So, I mean, if Florida has any weak spots, I would consider maybe picking up Flex to cover it. But Maelstrom, even though they lost, it wasn't super one-sided. On Lijiang, it was started out that way, but then Kings Row was a lot more competitive. So was New Junk City. First point, it looked like maybe Maelstrom had figured out the weakness of Toucans and they're starting to reverse sweep, but then Toucans just said nope, just switched to their comfort Ramatra. It took the series. But I believe after this I believe is Bronze Banter, which is a deep dive into Harmony tier. I believe so. I don't know if they're actually doing it. I haven't heard. Don't kill me if they don't. If they don't, just yell at Bubba. And next week we'll have a whole entire bunch of feature matches. Who knows? We might even have enough people or produce people to do B streams.
Yeah, but that will do it for us here. Before we sign off for tonight, just want to give a quick shout out to everyone behind the scenes. And we had a lot of people. Beam, Birdie, Cry, Orange, Rim, Jazzberry, and Hippie controlling it all. They all did a great job tonight, getting all those angles, all those replays you saw. Thank you, everyone, for coming out here tonight. That will wrap up week 2 here in Tranquility, but Monday it starts all over again with week 3, so stick around for that. But that will do it for us. Myself, Dextron, that has been Denji. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight, and have a good night.